to All About the Love with Annie Parker. Today's guest, Mr. Ryan Bisio, is such a fun guest, such a wonderful conversation. He is a coach and a musician and on his way to being an amazing author. And I loved him from moment one, his thoughts, his beliefs, the way he carries himself and takes care of his community, the way he coaches, the way he thinks. It's all pretty dang brilliant, and I'm really excited for all of you to hear the way he lives, the way he thinks, the way he coaches, and the conversation that we have. I think you're going to have a good time. I am so blessed to know him, and I'm really excited to share this conversation. Hello there. This is All About the Love with Annie Parker. And today, it's with Ryan Bisio, who I fell in love with you, I think 8 seconds into our phone conversation.
8 seconds?
I think so.
Like
maybe
riding
less.
a bull? Is it
Yeah! You were my first rodeo. You won me at the first rodeo, baby. Yeah. He is well, you're a lot of fucking things. But I met him because he is the CR head basketball coach. And he has, what is your program? What was that my son was involved in?
Yeah, so he joined our class that we offer to select high school students who have the ability to play with us. It wasn't a camp; it was actually just like a college course that he signed up for.
But weren't only the Lukes in the, or there was only a couple high schoolers? Like, is it a part of basketball practice?
Yeah, so they basically joined our program and our team activities. Okay. Yeah, and again, it's for select folks, and it's a concurrent enrollment kind of thing that we selectively choose special individuals for.
Yeah, that was a cool course, but my ass had to figure out how to sign up a 14-year-old for college, and it included emails and all sorts of things. So I got to flirt with you on the phone, and I think like 8 minutes in, I think I stopped you and was like, Bisio, I fucking love you. And if I remember right, you're like, Annie, I think I love you too.
That's right.
I was like, you are such a special gift. And I think what I'm excited for people to hear and for us to talk about is, it's like you have all these cornucopias of amazingness, and you with your special sauce are blending them into this powerhouse of like music, sports, tenacity, and being a good human, all in this little crock pot.
Oh, well, thank you.
Right? Is that, am I describing you or what?
I've never heard it described like that, but that's flattering, and hopefully that's what I'm doing, by just involving all of my self-interest and working with incredible people that end up bringing the most out of me and stimulating my creativity in a way that hopefully inspires others.
Yeah. What is your basic, like, did you come from Humboldt?
Yeah, so I was born in Eureka at the old General Hospital. I don't know what it is now. It's something else.
They take blood.
Yeah, they do something over there.
Do you feel, because I was born a while, well, you were too. Was it General Hospital like what do old people watch while they have their tuna sannies?
Soap operas?
Soap operas, right?
Days of Our Lives.
Yes, but wasn't General Hospital?
Yeah, it was I
think it was.
Yeah,
so every time people say that, I feel like
I forgot about that.
I think so.
Yeah, it was an old soap opera.
Yeah. But the hospitals there, I think they do like blood pulls or whatever. Okay, so you were born there.
I was born there, was raised in Eureka, and then moved over to Arcata as a a young kid. My parents got divorced. I identify more as an Arcata person. No shade to Eureka, but I'm an Arcata guy.
I was born in Eureka.
Really?
Yeah, I moved to Bayside the summer before my kindergarten year, and I remember the first time I picked up the phone down in Bayside, and Little House on the Prairie was like my favorite shit ever. And I remember, hello, Parkers. And they're like, hi, are your parents there? I'm like, no, they went to town.
Yeah.
Like 2 miles into Bayside, and my ass is like, oh yes.
No, they went to the village.
Yeah, they took the buggy to town, but I just, they went to town.
It's so funny.
So bougie.
I love it out there.
Yeah.
Love it out there.
I do too. So what grade school did you go to?
I went to Alice Burney as a youngster, and then I went to, it used to be called Sunset Elementary. It's gone.
Oh, now it's Arcata.
Arcata.
I think it's Arcata, yeah.
Sunnybrae Middle School, Go Roadrunners.
Yeah.
Arcata High.
Okay.
St. Bernard's, the whole thing.
You went part at Arcata, part at St. Bernard's?
Went to Arcata as a freshman, and then finished up at St. Bernard's, graduated from there.
Nice.
So,
did you go to school with Tomlin?
He's a little older. I went to school with his brother, Alton Tomlin. Are you talking about Matt?
Yeah, somebody told me about, I don't think I know Matt, because Matt and I was at Arcata, but I hung out with people at St. Bernard's.
I remember.
So he was gone.
But
apparently St. Bernard's is where amazing coaches are built. Apparently there's some special sauce in that St. Bernard's pudding.
Well, Matt is a special coach. And obviously he has proven that in pretty much every sport that you can coach locally. He's blown everybody's mind with what he's done.
Yeah. I mean, both of you. I was kind of giggling with my kid this morning. I was like, dude, I got the badasses of the humble on here.
That's amazing.
Have you and him, have there ever been coaches that are winning and accolade? Oh, well, Bert Van Duzer. Sure, and James Washington.
But
are there other big, because in my memory, now before I gave birth to Luke, I was not this kind of athlete. I was more triathlons, backpacking, horses, diving.
Sure.
You know, it was a different type of athleticism, but it feels to me like Humboldt's really stepping it up.
Yeah, there's been some incredible coaches in this area historically.
Yeah.
Just legendary coaches from, junior high, high school.
Who were those for you? What did they do for you?
Yeah, I got super lucky. I was influenced by a lot of people who had careers at Humboldt State. So I was coached by a guy named Rick Mayhew as a freshman at Arcata who played for Tom Wood at Humboldt State. Had an incredible coach, Stan Twitchell is his name. He lives in Red Bluff now. Legendary Hall of Fame caliber coach at St. Bernard's. And then all through college, I was just playing for...
Where did you go to college?
I went to a place called College of Notre Dame at a high school.
Okay.
I got a scholarship there. It's a school in the Bay Area. I redshirted, transferred to Santa Rosa Junior College, where I played for a guy named Craig McMillan, who is a very famous person in basketball. He still coaches there. We're friends. We talk almost every day. And then I played at Cal State Monterey Bay, a Division II school that's in Humboldt State's league, for a guy named Bill Trumbo, who has since passed away, but was a remarkable Hall of Fame coach. He was so supportive of my music in a time that I needed the exact type of support that he provided me at that time. And bless his heart, he was a beautiful man.
Support as in, he not only saw you as an athlete, but he allowed you to have your other flourishing parts of you. Exactly.
And he had like a real insatiable curiosity for it. It wasn't cosmetic. Like he really wanted to understand that part of my soul.
Yeah.
And to have someone in sports do that was at that time unusual, I thought. And it was so genuine that it gave me the type of confidence that I needed to continue on that path.
What's this guy's name?
His name was Bill Trumbo. And
so Bill Trumbo kind of, I mean, to me, from the little that I know, he gave you what you're doing.
Absolutely.
Like, let's see these motherfuckers for more than the game.
Totally. And he, he was so interested in the whole human. And that's something that's really influenced the way that I approach coaching now, in a more holistic way where you're developing the human in order to get the best athletic performance.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, the athletic performance is really the flowering from the nurturing, the fertilizing, the root, the gardening, all the things. Right. Compared to just paying attention to the bud.
And he was an older gentleman, like he was already in the Hall of Fame in California, and then he came back.
What does that mean? What does the Hall of Fame mean? So
there's the California Community College Hall of Fame. There's a few different coaching Hall of Fames.
Because you just won an award. Is that a Hall of Fame award?
No, that was the State Coach of the Year award. I won that last year in 2023.
But you just won it because basketball was over.
It was a year ago that I won that award.
Oh, it was.
It was last March. Yeah, I know it's.
Oh, it must have been when the awards came out. I just read it this year.
Yeah.
Maybe because my algorithms know I'm in love with you, so they suddenly shit about you now. You didn't win it this year.
I didn't win it this year. No, I won it last.
Fuck? Who got over you?
Well.
Oh my gosh, that is so funny. I swear, my phone.
So is that why you booked me? You thought I won it this year?
No, I booked you because 8 minutes in, I was like, I love him, and we need to make $1 trillion. I want to ship you out to all the counties worldwide. I just think that, yeah. I mean, I've said before on things, I love athletics.
You do.
And I think it is such a beautiful thing, and I think it's also really fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that a human like you that is taking the whole thing in, it can bring back all the amazingness of sports.
That's wow.
Where
that's
a lot
powerful.
of times sports are now about just money or the actual ball skill or sports skill, where really, to me, athleticism is family, community, good posture, good communication, good leadership, follow through, health, good healthy daily plans.
Yeah, all of
that's
that.
athletics to me.
Totally.
Athletics isn't, oh, you made a shot and you won a game,
Right.
and now you're going to put some chemicals in your body called Monster
Right.
That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that's.
But the way you do it in those 8 minutes, it was your thought process that athleticism, from what I heard from you, athleticism is a whole cornucopia. And what squirts out is some sports.
Yeah. And
sports is like the little...
It is. And really, like, the human development is really what draws me to the work and the relationships. Like, of course, everybody wants to win, and everybody wants their
so
teams
fun to win.
And everybody wants
no denying that.
There's no denying
right?
that.
Denying that. Yeah.
You want your players to play well. You want your team to do well. Like, you want to excite your community with really fun events that they enjoy attending.
Yes. Even that. Yeah. I like the event of a sporting event. You get the young, the old, the related, the non-related. It's a cool thing. It's a cool experience.
And it's the artistry of basketball in particular is for me the perfect vehicle to engage in relationships and help spur self-growth, athletic growth, and also just deeper understanding of the muse that we all love so much. I mean, the reason that we work together is because we have a common love for the sport. And if I can provide like a deeper love for the sport, a deeper understanding for the sport, and then our collective performance can then attract people to us through our enthusiasm, through our creativity, then you're creating something that's bigger, that everybody has an emotional investment in. And that's where you create memorable experiences, you create super powerful relationships, and you create like a collective energy that then attracts people from larger communities. And I think that's why we won the award last year, is because the kids that we were working with, like, we created this like song that was so powerful that it was just everybody could hear it everywhere. And it was coming out of the forest up here,
Right. It's like when you have those songs, I mean, we're old enough to remember when you would have to call the radio to hear it over and over, and there were only a couple where it's like play it again, and there's like a certain combustion.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it doesn't happen every time, but we've been really lucky and happy and grateful that at CR we've consistently been able to get a group of people together who love the game, who love each other, who are open and vulnerable to develop the type of communication that it takes to do great things in basketball. And then, by the end of the year, we're playing like our hair's on fire. And we're playing with a lot of love.
The communication that it takes, like, what would you say, what is that within you? Do you feel that when you have your kids come in, you are speaking to their whole unit instead of to their athletic unit? And then, like, how are you fostering that?
That's a really good question.
Because you are very different. I mean, I love all sorts of peeps, and I love coaches so much, what you give. But I swear, when we had our talk, I was like, this is what I've been looking for. And that's, I guess, what I'm asking. Like, what really, like, you're going to write a book about basketball and music. And that was one of our first conversations. Like, I want you to kind of explain that more.
Sure.
Because it really is. It's like, there's this and there's this, and then you start talking, because you get what I'm saying.
Yeah. To me, like, you talked about, like, the communication, and ultimately for me, like, the first thing I do is try to develop the kind of interpersonal one-on-one relationships with each individual that is very meaningful, very substantive, and do anything possible to establish genuine trust. You know, a lot of times that involves me leading with vulnerability. So like, I'm a big crier. Like, I cry a lot.
I already cried when he got here.
I cry in front of my players.
Yep, it's beautiful.
Probably a couple times a week. Sometimes just in pure gratitude that we all get the opportunity to be here together and engage in something we love. Sometimes it's because, you know, when Kobe died, I was just distraught, you know, and expressed my vulnerability. I was coaching some Arcata High teams when my Nona passed away, and I just try to be as open and as vulnerable to them as possible. And what I've found is that allows everybody to just kind of relax into being who they are, and
or being allowed to be human.
Right.
And being like, this guy's in charge of us.
Yeah, and
he feels what I feel, so I can too.
Exactly. And that I'm in a safe environment to where I can express how I feel. One thing that I do also, a technique, is we, before practice every day, we get together, we hold hands around center court, and we do, I call it team breathing. And at first, you know, you can see guys like opening their eyes and kind of looking around and being like, what the fuck, is this really happening?
Being a hippie is really uncomfortable sometimes. I mean, I call it hippie, but it's really like spiritual or connected. It is uncomfortable because our society doesn't give us that.
I try to attract and recruit players who have like a type of openness to where it's not like pulling teeth.
Yeah.
But then I find like how
uncomfortable.
I find how quickly they start to really appreciate the exercise.
Yes.
And at first you have all of these different pulses and different BPMs, and everybody's heart's beating at a different rate. Some people are nervous, some people are settled in.
Yeah.
And you find that over time you create a collective pulse where you're holding hands and you feel like one organism.
Yes.
And symbolically, that's how you want to play basketball, and really that's how you want to play.
Live life.
Yeah, and that's how you want to play music.
Do you see why I fucking love this guy? Yes, like that. Like, I did an Om before. Have you done an Om?
What's that mean to you?
Like, right. So living in Humble and being spiritual myself, there's a lot of fake priestesses. There's a lot of bullshit out there. Like, I do not want another coked out person to tell me I'll hold space for you. Like, lady, come on. Like, I will hold my own space. So I was against holding space because so much fraudulence was coming at me.
Sure. Then
you acknowledge, oh, I get that. Like, I like to solve, if you can imagine, get up in there.
Right.
And then instead, like, oh, I'm gonna stay back. I'm gonna love you so fiercely that I'm gonna know that you've got this. So I'm holding space for you by not noodling out into you, right? So I'm now holding space. So now I've lost that cheesiness to it.
Sure.
Because I'm doing it. I'm understanding. I am a container. Like, you are so powerful. You heal, and I'll stand here, and I don't need to. And so the Om thing felt kind of like that. Like, namaste. You know, namaste is the most amazing thing ever, but some bitches like, don't tell me namaste. Do you know what I'm saying?
Totally.
Like it was really this thing. And so this Om thing, I think I just maybe had doing hair and just too many fake goddesses bringing this to me that I was against it. And then it was a New Year's Day. We did a beautiful yoga. And then at the end, there was the sound bowl. And then we held hands and we did an Om where you Om, but you all do it. And we held hands. Like, that's why I'm thinking of your team, like with the BPMs, you know?
Yeah.
So I think it would have been just as powerful if we didn't.
Sure.
But I think if I would have just come in and held hands with people and closed eyes and done an Om, I wouldn't have been there yet. But because we had done yoga and my body really felt that this was, you know, I was aligned. I think it was probably 10 years ago and I still feel it in my body. Like now, even when I just go, I can go back to that feeling.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was amazing.
It's so powerful.
Think of just a sound.
Yeah.
And I was telling my kids the other day that my grandpa used to whistle and my grandma would hum. And they're both passed now. And how much that meant to me. And now sometimes when I do that, how much it brings back. But to think of as a team, to come together, to unite. And then,
And I like the...
That is what we're at. You know, that is the things that actually get you somewhere. Might not get you the win, but it gets you to be the winner. Because a win is just like a point or a second off. But are you a winner with being connected? Like, to start that. Yeah,
and I even like the visual symbolism of being connected.
And it's center court, that you do it at center court. That's pretty hot.
Totally.
You stand in a circle like the
we
shape
do.
for my OCD.
We do.
Bisio, I love it. I love it.
And it's also a symbol to ourselves that, like, we're here also to do the deeper work. Like, we're not, like... This isn't transactional. This isn't like you're here to help me get wins and I'm going to get you a scholarship and peace out. Like, no, like this is the start of like lifelong, very deep relationships. And you said the word earlier, love. That word is used in our facility dozens of times a day. Like I tell my players that I love them. They tell me they love me. It's like, this is a loving, safe environment for us to embark on the difficult work that we're doing together. You talked about communication. Part of the type of growth that we need to make as people and as players involve very difficult conversations that can be really uncomfortable. But in order to have those conversations, like we have to start with a baseline of like trust, you know, that in ourselves, in each other,
in the team.
That we're trying to get to the truth, that we're here being honest about what we're observing and what we're working on together. And I just start with kind of those techniques to try to create the healthiest working environment as possible for us to build from, you know? Yeah.
And to not try to dribble down the problems, but to dribble them up, to be like, I just imagine like each one of those amazing young men in that circle, they all are talented. They all are brilliant enough to be magnetized to be on your team. And they are all fucked. You know?
Yeah.
There's so much pain. Even if you do amazing, even if you choose choices, life is hard. And to think of being able to harmonize and connect and be like, we are all cool, we are all going somewhere, we are all talented, and we are also all wounded and need help. And just that.
The vulnerability.
It's
like, I mean, and again, we try to lead with that as leaders, as coaches, you know?
Right. Like if your leader can tell you I am hurting, they're a better leader because then everybody knows, okay, our leader needs this.
Right.
Right? Now, I mean, to be led by somebody that never lets you know that there's something going on.
Now, I can also subscribe to the idea that, like, you know, leaders need to not show vulnerability and they need to show no chink in the armor or whatever it is. I if that works for others, like, I'm totally no judgment.
I think if I was in like a battle with guns, I would want my leader to not have an emotional fucking kerfuffle.
Sure.
For sure.
I also
there are definitely times for that, but I sure hope those people get to go home and cry to somebody and hold hands with
totally.
Just maybe not in battle.
No, and I mean,
you know what I mean? Like if they're
and you make a good distinction too. Like let's say like basketball, a game is the equivalent to battle.
Yeah.
Like if I'm melting down to the
don't
officials,
cry at basketball.
Then it could scare my players.
Yes.
Right. So
beautifully said.
So there is like a type of like professionalism and type of like strength you need to project in like battle, but in the working environment, like that's where we really get down to the core of those things, like trust, love, all the stuff I've talked about. I will say this though, I've had players who love the breathing so much that they have asked us to do it during timeouts. In our biggest game this year, we called a timeout. One of our guys was like, Biz, can we breathe real quick? And we didn't even say a word in the timeout. We just breathed for 30 seconds, just looked at each other, and we were like, oh, dude, that's all we needed to do. We didn't even need to say anything. It's amazing how, it really can resonate with some of the kids too, some of these techniques. And some of them, they just do it just to be a part of the group and stay connected with them, Right.
It's not as behooving for them if they understand it enough to be there. Yeah.
Totally.
I think, I mean, it is so funny. We want to work so hard for things and then to acknowledge, oh, all you have to do is simplify and breathe.
Yeah.
All is well. What if it all works out? Everything's okay.
I know.
What the hell?
Yeah, and I need to remind myself of that more, to be honest with you. Like I have a lot of growth that I could make in that particular, regard.
Me too, baby. Freaking too. I mean, I am so powerful and on point, and I can really I can do so many things, and then I can also allow myself to feel like such a failure. And depending on the choices of thoughts that I allow, depends on where I'm headed. And the more I can keep letting the bullshit ones go away, you have to pay attention to the good and bad. Bad is as beautiful as good, but it's really easy to get kind of stuck in those tight, nervous, negative things.
It really is. And self-awareness is something that I think we really try to help people with in our program, and I try to lead in that way too, because I've battled like imposter syndrome my whole life.
I hear it a lot, and I'm sure I haven't. So will you tell me what because
it's a fear that eventually you're going to be exposed as being not as you're perceived or something like that. I don't know the exact definition, but I've had this fear my whole life that like I'm going to wake up one day, my team is going to go 0-28, and it's going to be like, oh, like he was just getting lucky the whole time. Like he can't even coach, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So I've mitigated that over a long period of time to where hopefully it doesn't spill into my relationships and I don't project that insecurity onto others.
Yes, very much, right.
But, being able to talk to you about it and being able to talk to my players about it, like, is a way of, like, modeling the type of self-awareness that we're seeking from them.
Well, right? And a gift for people that are younger than us to see, wow, everybody's feeling it.
Sure.
Because I think when I was raised, I gave all of my power to anybody that was an adult. I think part of it was me. I think part of it was my way of being raised. But it's like, if you're an adult, you listen. Like I wanted to change who I was for each teacher. Some teachers loved that I was wild and excitable. Some people didn't. So it was like sometimes I was good, sometimes I was bad. So it would try and move around.
So would you attribute that to, like, to use like a musical example, like you have the adaptability to create harmony with whoever is around you in any given moment, right? Or was it more like...
I think I'm a lot of music's all inside of me, and I'm not lying when I go from reggae to rock to country. But I think that I am hoping to show my children that their music is wonderful. And you can stay your music and you can still listen to all the others. You don't have to bop around.
Sure.
I think that's what it is. Like, I am very, very true to myself. But I also am very easy to understand all others. And so I think that in my 20s, I partied a lot. And that's where I lost myself. That was where I was like, I hung out with people that I didn't really like unless I was under the influence.
Sure.
And so within that, I wasn't lying, but I wasn't true to myself, because without a cocktail, I wouldn't want to talk with you.
Sure.
I wouldn't be on this houseboat if there weren't drugs and alcohol, you know? So I think that was more my fraudulent time. And so I'm still judging myself from that. Even though I wouldn't say that I was lying or being not who I was. Do you feel what I'm saying on that? It was like, where now, yes, like if I have a sweet little ballerina in here, I'm going to have different conversations with her than, you know, a really conservative, older, wealthy, like, I am still me. But I think that when I was younger and I was using drugs and alcohol to like escape me not knowing who I was, I could make myself other things.
Yeah, I get what
and
you're
now
saying.
As I'm really grounded, I am me, but I do shift a bit.
Yeah.
You know, like we're talking sports.
Yeah.
Last week I was talking about floral things, so the words, the
but
essence.
You're yourself.
But I am still me, yes.
Totally.
I think it was the drugs and alcohol, not loving myself, trying to be like, pay attention or let me escape. That within that, there was lack of integrity. Not that I was like pretending, like I was born confident. Where some people party so they can go to a party. I wasn't really doing, like, a lot of times people don't know if I've partied or not. Like when I was pregnant, they're like, oh, this is you sober? Because before Luke was in my belly, I was a rager. And then I was pregnant, people were like, oh, this is just you. I was like, it really, you know, it really is. This actually, I'm excitable. But I'm still kind of figuring that out because I feel like I am a plethora of people inside of me. You know, I've got a lot of opinions and beliefs, and I can be okay with a lot of things. Like, I really have lots of favorite foods, lots of favorite colors, lots of favorite activities. So it's pretty easy. But yeah, within like the partying and stuff, I think that was where I was like, wait, this isn't me.
You said that was in your 20s?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gave birth to Luke at, I was pregnant on my 30th. Yeah. And I think I really started partying, my parents divorced my senior year. And I started smoking cigarettes to flip my family off because I was such a badass. I was so in shape and I was so tough. And I was just never going to get addicted. You get addicted, people. Doesn't matter how cool you think you are. Don't flip your parents off and get addicted to nicotine.
Oh,
but yeah, I kind of started dabbling with it then. Yeah. It wasn't the greatest. I'm pretty fun and excitable without. It was definitely a dark time, but I did like it. But as I go through and look, you know, there was definitely unconnection from that, looking for kind of like what I was saying with you around there, like those boys coming in. Like if I had a coach hold my hand and be like, how are you feeling? Like, let's not get to kicking ass right now. Like, I know you can get a good grade, or you can kick ass, or you can make money, or you can impress me, or you can look good, or you can do all the things. But how are you?
Yeah.
If somebody would have asked me that, I'd been like, I think I actually would really like a hug.
Yeah, you mentioned that when we were talking about like my, you know, Coach Trumbo earlier. Like he asked me that, and when I was in my early 20s.
Right?
You know?
He looked at you.
Yeah, and that's such
Trumbo, we love you.
We love
how
you,
can
man.
we get this to Trumbo?
We can get this.
You talk to him all the time. We'll tell him right now.
We can get this to his family. His wife, I believe she's in Hawaii.
Did Trumbo pass away?
He did, and I spoke at his memorial, and that was one of the great honors of my life, to be able to, just to contribute love to that event.
Somebody who saw you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, we talked about being in your 20s and being a young person and just trying to sort out a life that is becoming increasingly complex for young people, to navigate, not just in the basketball world, but in general, in the music business. What COVID not being able to perform for a few years has done to a lot of my musician friends and up and coming musicians who were trying to find their voice in performance and in songwriting and in collaboration, artistic collaboration. So it can be really difficult, the 20s. I know I struggled transitioning from identifying as a basketball player to then, in the eyes of a lot of people, even people in my family, transitioning to a career in music. My 20s was spent predominantly working in the music business.
So were you like a little basketball MVP going on that, and then you got to college and were like, oh, I'm there. I like music. Like, tell me about that.
Yeah, so I was a classical pianist as a child.
Okay.
And naturally picked up the piano. And
does that shit? Do your fingers get better with the ball from that?
I thought that,
you know what I mean? All those little things. Like, I could just imagine. Like, do you know where your fingers are on the ball more than most?
I got great hand-eye coordination from my dad, as we were talking before we went on camera. Like, the guy just has such incredible touch. He's 73 years old.
Yeah.
Like I told you, he could throw a remote anywhere in the living room and just land it right there with touch. Like he just has soft hands.
Yeah.
I think I got that from him. I started playing piano as a 6-year-old. Some people know this story. I'll tell it again. I don't want to be redundant, but
it's not redundant to me.
I won the gold medal in the Junior Olympics as a 6-year-old in bowling. And the prize was a Yamaha upright piano, which is still in my house.
Wait, bowling gave you
Yeah.
Bowling gave you a piano?
Yeah, it was a deal. My Nona said, she said, if you win the gold medal, I'm going to buy you a piano. And she didn't.
The bowling alley didn't.
No.
Okay.
No, and neither did the...
Do you see what I was thinking? I was like, that's what the bowling alley is giving us again.
No, and neither did the Junior Olympics, like the entity or whatever that was. It was my Nona.
This was a grandma gift. Okay, yeah. I love it.
But she didn't think I was going to win because I was playing it was 8 and under division. And I was
he's
6.
a badass.
So I win, and she was like,
oh my God,
shit.
I love grandmas.
I'm on the hook for a piano. So we wheel this piano into the house, and I start playing it. And
why did you ask for a piano?
Yeah.
Like at 6, was somebody in your family? Where did the piano?
I think it was, and this is getting way deep, but it was listening to early Elvis Presley, some of the gospel stuff, and the sound of the piano was just really intriguing to me. Once I got it, I realized that through whatever sports I was playing at that time, that I had some really transferable, translatable hand-eye coordination. So I took to the piano very easily and effortlessly, and I was able to advance like rather quickly and play, some classical pieces. And that trained my ear in a completely different way that once I got to my 20s, I was able to pick up the guitar and get proficient in it very, very quickly. And as soon as
you had already figured out the lesson in a different harmony, so you just had to and move it to here instead of to here.
Yeah, just transpose it from like one instrument to the other. And my ear training, and I was always singing as a kid, and I had some childhood friends. You might know these Arcata people like Mitch Walter, remember Lily Walter, Ricky Fuller. These probably kids around my age. We used to go golfing at Beaupre, and I used to sing Whitney Houston songs out there and just belt them out. And they'd be like, dude, you sound like a girl, you know? And of course you could say that in those days. You can't really say that anymore because it's, you know, there's nothing wrong with being a girl, you know?
I don't think you can say anything these days.
Not really.
As a 46-year-old, I'm like, am I hurting your feelings? Can you tell that I love you? Can I just say it?
In 1992, whenever they told me that, I was like,
Wu-Tang! We were fucking golden. We could do whatever we wanted.
That's right. That's right.
Tupac was still alive.
He was still alive. Yeah, and he was influential on all of us in those days. And he was in California, so it was like kind of like he was around. Oh my gosh,
I just watched a tiny little, I mean, it was social media, so what do they give you? 60 seconds of brilliance, but he was so sparkly.
Yeah.
And he was saying something beautiful, kind of like Bisio beautiful. No, I can't remember it all, but.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Poet.
Incredible. Okay, so you're singing like a girl, which I love. And don't you normally sing like a girl until pubes come?
Yeah,
Aren't a lot of musicians nervous about? Because you're like fucking badass, and then all of a sudden something changes.
Well, for me, like nobody ever taught me how to sing. Like I have a degree in music, and when I was going through the music department at Cal State Monterey, I did have to take a vocal course, and it got me thinking about things that I'd never thought about like control of my diaphragm, which I'd never heard of.
Which is probably you're using that shit for basketball, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, and I never thought about diaphragm control. I never thought about
diaphragm just the top, like the rib, just that little triangle underneath your ribs.
Yeah, and how the different breathing techniques can like open, close, like the type of like vibrato is more like in the throat, but there's a way to control your diaphragm that can allow you to sing with more of a chest vocal or like finish it in more of a throat vocal.
Yep, I totally.
So like. I didn't know about any of that stuff, so I had taken singing classes, but I think the style that I ended up creating was more just kind of self-taught. Same with my guitar style is really self-taught. So I thought without the musical training, I was able to just kind of find my own way through it. And I wasn't really self-conscious about my voice, but even in my early records, if I hear them now, I was able to sing with like a pretty high register. And my voice, as I've grown into adulthood and a man, like has slowly gotten lower and evolved into a place that I feel now, like when I sing, it's coming from a place that's much more natural sounding, as opposed to in my 20s, when I was singing, I was just like trying too hard.
Instead of doing.
Yeah, and trying to like impress people. And I was talking to a basketball player.
Oh my gosh, I think that's what I was meaning with in my 20s. It was like I wasn't fraudulent, but I was trying.
Yeah.
Right?
Totally.
I love that.
Yeah.
So where do we go? It's like, I don't think there's a negation in the trying. The trying can be the exciting point to get you to the doing.
Totally.
Like, baby, you're okay. You're just trying. You're going to be doing soon, right?
I totally.
I think that is what.
And you're trying to find out where the boundaries are.
Because I still shame myself a bit for my 20s, but when I look at it, it's like you were not harmful. You were not centered. Mm-hmm. But I think that is. I'm gonna have to chew on that for a bit. But yeah,
I think you're right.
Right, that because you weren't being a fake you weren't fake singing, but you weren't fully fucking there. You were singing from somebody that knew you wanted to sing, or did you know how you wanted to sound?
That's what I was. That's what I was trying to figure out. Is like, what is, like, who am I as an artist? Like, like
who the fuck am I? I mean,
totally.
I feel like every few years, like right now, my hair's up here. I don't know what I want to look like. I don't know what I want to wear. It's like, who am I? Well, I'm Annie fucking Parker, but what is that? Mm-hmm. You've got to keep, like, it's so easy to just keep doing and being what you are, but am I what I want to be? Mm-hmm. Am I doing what I want to do? I've been trying a lot.
I totally agree.
We are just, it's going to be a lot of thinking. We're going to have to talk in a couple days. I'd be like, are you trying or are you doing?
That's a great distinction, though. And it makes, like, when you said that, the way that it applies to not only, like, my evolution as a musical artist, but also my evolution as a coach. Like
I can see you screaming out, like, stop trying.
Mm-hmm.
Do.
Yeah.
Be.
Trust.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at us.
It's so good.
See? Now you all can love him too.
The deeper work.
Yeah,
That's what we're doing. This is great.
I'm trying. There are so many sentences waiting to blow me away. I feel like that's what I'm doing in life. Just looking for those sentences that are like mind-blowing, where you're like, oh, okay, like freedom. I think my brain has a lot of fences, a lot of rules, and a lot of judgment. And each time I can lift a pedal, glory comes out, and then I'll be like, oh, no. You know, it comes in and comes out. And a sentence like that, like, I feel like I'm forgiving you're in a small town. And I remember when I've moved away, it was kind of funny to go to the grocery store and be like, oh, people are just like looking at me like a person. Like, who am I? Like, if I'm not the person that used to ride her pony to school, if I'm not the person that's Dennis and Betty's, if I'm not Wyatt's sister, like, I'm just here in fucking France. Nobody knows me. Like, who am I?
Right.
And I didn't know.
Wow.
I was 20. I had no clue. I chopped my hair, and these are some good thoughts for all of us to be thinking about.
Yeah, and also just to have compassion for people that are going through that journey the first time, that are in their 20s, like the kids that I work with. It's like, I've I have a lot of compassion for all of the calculations and things that they must be thinking about, because you have to go through it and figure out where the boundaries are. Like, who am I really? Like, who's helping me find out who I am?
Well, and in your 20s, you're realizing, is this my choice, or did my mom sign me up for this shit? You know?
Totally. Like,
wait, what really? Like, do I even, like, think of how many boys are probably on your team that maybe they don't even want to play. I think I witness energetically a lot of athletes that are there because their parents would like them to be there. Yeah. And I imagine you get out of high school and it's like, do you want to do this? Well, I mean, I hope you still stay in shape and eat healthy or wake up with intention, but you don't have to be a baller.
Well, that's the thing I love about being a college coach more than being a high school coach, is because I get to choose,
help them.
And I get to choose who I coach through recruiting. So if that's true, if I sniff out that, like, your parent is making you play, like, I won't bring you to CR.
Right. Like, you can be like, honey, you go play somewhere else, or maybe go.
Or just go live your life.
Tennis.
Like, do what your heart is telling you to do, right? Like, for me, and we were talking about Luke, before the podcast, but like, I'm attracted to people who have a deep love for the game, who are really trying to forge not only their own identity and figure out who they are, but they're trying to forge their own life in this sport, whether it be a coach, or I want to become a high school coach, or I want to use this to be a counselor, or I want to be a broadcaster, or I want to play professionally in Europe, right?
Yeah. Do you know Robbie Thompson? Yeah. I love him. And he just posted something that said that. It said something. Thank you, Robbie. I love you.
Love you, Robbie.
It was something like, so you want to get to the NBA. Like, so many fucking things can get you there. The coaching, the photography, the this, the that. And I was like, that is such a beautiful sentence for everything. Totally. So you want to be wealthy. Okay, well, there's so many ways, so many things. Like, you can be wealthy in love. Right. Be wealthy in good food. Right. Like, how do you want to be wealthy? Totally. You're going to be wealthy like a boat? Well, so. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, there's like, when you get so many people in the same building, what I've found, who, just have that deep love and they're trying to find their path, what ends up happening is we all become responsible for helping all of us find our path. Yes. And that, like, that exponentially raises the amount and type of support that everybody feels. How, like, wow, everybody here is invested in everybody's development.
Everybody here, right?
Yeah. And it's like, wow, man, like, the only way my dreams are going to come true is if I help this dude make his dreams come true.
Yeah.
And that energy, when that's getting stirred up, it's like, it's enough to bring you to tears. It's so special, you know?
So this is all about the love with Annie Parker. And I am doing it. Well, a lot of it is having Luke as my son. They're being about us takes some money. So I'm like, doing hair's not cutting it. So once this podcast helps pay some bills, I'm really excited. It's going to be all about the Dreams Foundation. And it originates because so many people help me, you know, like people are excited for him to be on their team. They'll help with flights. They'll help with this. I have clients that help. And so it's not just for kids, but it's for anybody. And I want it to be humble as the container. So my honey is actually going to do an interview of me for a podcast. So I can talk about it. But we're going to talk about it right now.
That's fun.
So then I can get it out there to people. But I want people to start reaching out to me. And I want to figure out an OCD way to catalog. Like if there's people with money, like people who have money that want to share. Do you like sports or art or health or gardening? You know, what are you like? Or people who have hookups with people outside of Humboldt, people who have houses, people who have jobs, people who have companies. So somebody with a dream, with a passion, they write a letter to All About the Dream Foundation. And then we as a county, as all of fucking Humboldt County, they write it, I get it, and I matriculate around. And then I'm like, okay, well, we have somebody with lots of money that likes to give for your object. Oh, we have an old retired woman who loves this, and she will give you this. And oh my goodness, can you believe we have somebody else and they have a house over in Europe where the thing that you want to go to is. And we'll bring that. And so we bring all these little stitches together and we create a basket, and then we say, and put them out there for a drink. Right?
That's beautiful. That's a great vision. That is a great vision.
So magical. It can be young, it can be old, it can be for sports, for art. It could be for somebody going through cancer that wants to try something tricky or new, you know, below the equator. What fucking ever. It doesn't matter. But that whoever has a dream, let's help people get it. And for me, like, I don't know why, but I have this retired old lady. I don't know her. But in my head, like, how wonderful, because I do a lot of hair. And people that retire, there's a lot of downfall of like, well, now what am I doing?
Sure.
Like, I was excited for a bit to relax, but now what do I do? And to be able to call and be like, honey, if there's somebody that needs a dream, you can get your skills out. Like, help. We can all, right?
I love that.
I know. It's going to be so good.
I love that you just said that.
I know. People, help.
I love that you just said that.
I am going to air mask my family first. So once I can fly and watch Luke do kick-ass things, or, well, once I can not work so much, right? There's some variance there. As soon as that happens, but I'm getting started. Like, I'm already starting to get numbers and stuff from people.
Good for you.
So anybody out there that wants to help me, I'm very organized in OCD, but I'm not very technological. I want it to be, like, in my mind, I have like money people, housing people. Do you feel what I'm saying? So as we're going through, we read the paper. Like when I do interior design, it's like, okay, the paint color, the fabric, the wallpaper, the flooring, you know, I want to be able to draw the money, the help, the counseling, the travel, you know. So anybody that can help me figure out how do we start to plan that. But then I'm really excited because I think it'll be great jobs for people. Right? Because once we get going, there's going to be so many dreams to help people with. There'll be a couple of jobs that will be awesome for people. And can you even imagine? Because I feel like there's a lot of amazing people behind this Redwood curtain. Totally. And we are more than, you know, marijuana and trees and fish.
In every facet that you just described, it's humans like connecting with each other.
Everybody.
And connecting to dreams, you know. Like it's
like
a lot of connections.
Those people with extra money, being able to give it to somebody that actually flourishes and gets out there. For somebody that has an extra home or has an extra connection or has the time or the learning, like
or has a skill set that can help, you know.
I love it when people ask me questions. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm worthy. I know something. I can help you. Yes, thanks. You know. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. So I'm really excited about that.
I love the vision right there.
Yeah.
It's very well formed.
Thank you. I think so too.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm open for, I'm open. Well, when I opened my first salon, we had business meetings every month where I would buy everyone a cocktail. We were definitely partiers. It was my 20s. But and all the Parker's Beauty Bar girls would go to Plaza Grill. We were pretty excitable and definitely good-looking, excitable young ladies. Luke was the only, I had it for like a year before I had a baby, and Luke was the only baby. So if you can imagine the excitement of this group. And my first one, I had all these and I passed out the things. And on the list was, I was going to ask everybody their opinion about what we should do. And about 4 people in, I was like, never mind. I'm a control freak. Open your own fucking salon. It was so hard to realize. I was like, nope. Nope, I do not like that idea.
Good self-awareness.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that. So I'm saying, give me some help.
That's good.
You know what I'm saying?
That's good.
I do want help, but I also, I don't know, I'm 46. Maybe I can relax my control freak ways.
Well, I'll tell you, I mean, that's that vision right there. I mean, that's
Get on board, Bisio. Dude, you're already on. I would just make you, I'd be like, Bisio, guess what?
Whatever you need. You need a little tingle.
Yeah, but help kind of figure that out. I think a lot of it right now, until the podcast makes money, is going to be me more putting in the root system. So once there is money for it, it can be like in my mind, I envision different categories in my computer. Like I was saying, like, here's the flooring, here's the this. So it's some sort of way to funnel people in Humboldt that are excited to help people be amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, there's like no stopping it. It's like anybody could be behooving.
There's so many creative, giving, incredibly smart, just well-rounded people in this community. Yeah. As long we've been in the community for a long time, but it's amazing how even in a small community like this that you uncover people is like, oh wow, like you're doing that, like damn, like it's even in a small community, it's so incredible how open people are to help others and I love it.
You really are like. I wrote a paper when I went to Humboldt about government, which is funny because my kids are like, oh golly, mama's talking about the government again. I just am not very in tune with anything with the government, even when I was 20. So I wrote this paper about how it doesn't make much sense when you look at conglomerations and tribes and connectivity of people. For somebody to be in Washington fucking DC trying to tell me what the right opinions are. That doesn't make sense. There's too much travel. There's too much time-space reality that doesn't make sense. I believe you are magnetized to where you are. You are drawn to where you are. Like when people move from out of town to come here and they don't like it, it's like, wonderful. Absolutely. Then baby, go find some place that doesn't have this, right? We're all kind of in it. And I think that I've always known it, but a lot of people during COVID really saw that. It was like, okay, so we're not just living in Humboldt. This is where we are. Like, we have different air, we have different choices, we have different foods. If you're in Austin, Texas, you're signing up for something different.
Yeah.
I am going to feel, smell, taste, and live differently in whatever metropolis or homesteady thing I choose to be.
Totally.
And I feel like Humboldt, we really can. I feel like we've been punched in the face a bit with trees and fish and marijuana. But we don't have to be, because we are so many more things than that. And that's starting to come up. You know, like the trees and the fish and the marijuana were so big, these little buds, but now all these little buds are like, hey, guess what? I do wine. Oh my gosh, I'm a jeweler. Oh my gosh, I'm a fucking musician. Like there's all this room.
Yeah.
For more amazingness.
And always the best food, man. When I was living in Europe, I was missing Los Bagels so much.
You know what I wanted to do when I lived? I thought I was gonna come back from France and move over there and do a burrito truck because I wanted a fucking burrito so bad.
They need it over there.
I know. We need some crepe and some Indian food trucks, and they need some burrito trucks. Let's make that happen.
Not much Mexican food in Northern Europe, anyways.
No, I remember I was there like a year, and I ate some version of a taco in Scotland, and I was pretty turned on by it. It could have pretended to be a tortilla. It was definitely some beans. But I was like, oh, look at me go.
No, we've seen this, I was gone. Like, I moved out of the area when I was 18, moved back.
Oh, yeah, you played European ball.
Yeah.
Speak about that.
Yeah, I lived in...
Minus the lack of Mexican food.
Yeah, there was none. I lived in Copenhagen for 4 years in Denmark. So
you graduate high school... you graduate college.
Yeah.
And what does that mean? Is it just a job? Like do they house you? Or you...
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I got signed to a 1-year contract, and within a week of getting there, I got hurt. I broke my finger. So I had already signed the contract, and they were like, well, shit, we got to pay the guy. Like, what else can he do? Kind of a thing. So they asked me if I would coach some of the youth teams. And that's how I got into coaching, and I've been coaching ever since.
Yeah.
But I was also going over there to pursue my music interests and try to find an audience, develop some material. I ended up writing probably like 2.5 albums worth of songs over there.
Did you go to Monterey for music? Was that your major when you went from St. Bernard's to Monterey?
Yeah, I had 2 years at Santa Rosa Junior College where I just did my general ed. But I got a degree in music at Monterey. But I went to Monterey just because they offered me a basketball scholarship. Mm-hmm. And once I got there, I realized how rich of a music history that they have on the peninsula. I've played the same stage that Jimi Hendrix burnt his guitar. Like, that was in Monterey Pop Festival, Monterey Jazz Festival, Monterey Blues Festival.
That's funny. I've never thought of Monterey as that.
It's a crazy music history.
Nice.
Yeah.
What kind of music? I am not very... Like, we were just outside backpacking with horses. We didn't listen to music all that much, which is kind of funny. But when I listen to it, what kind is it?
Of my music?
Yeah.
It's...
Or are there even genres anymore? It seems like everything's so hodgepodge. Like, I almost want to say folk, but then I'm like, you're not folk. Like, what?
Yeah, I'm a product of all of my influences, like most artists are.
Yeah.
I think the genre that I think fits me the most snug and is kind of the most accurate is simply the singer-songwriter genre. Now, when you say singer-songwriter, some people have an image of some like sensitive dude at a coffee shop, like talking to singing a song about breaking up with his girlfriend.
Open mic night where it's a little more...
Yeah, totally. So I understand that could be seen that way.
But singer-songwriter, I would think you would be saying storyteller, because isn't everybody that's a musician a singer-songwriter? Right,
but there's a certain genre of music that's called that. Like on iTunes, I want pop, I want rock, I want folk, singer-songwriter.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know what pop... Okay, keep going.
And the thing I like about singer-songwriter is it doesn't define you from an audio perspective. Whereas when you think of metal, like something really clear comes to your mind.
Yeah.
Singer-songwriter, like it's a huge spectrum that encompasses that genre. Yeah. And I find that more comfortably. Some of my albums are considered alternative. Some of my albums are categorized as rock. Some of them are folk rock.
How do you figure that out? Because other
people figure it out for you.
Do you, like interior design, there are certain looks,
mm-hmm.
And when I was younger, dreaming of being an interior designer, it was like, those are the looks. Where now, as I'm older, being more centered in myself, I'm like, oh, all the looks are all around. They're all kind of within it.
Yeah.
But that got me to being with the music. I'm like, I know like rock, reggae, and country. All like the 3 beats. Outside of that, I'm like, I don't, like, can you put it, like, what makes something pop? Because I thought things were like, is it simpatico? No, what's simpatico?
I think it...
Like, how do you know what the fuck it's called?
Well, again, I think it's not artists who are creating the genres, it's the people who market the music who create it.
Oh my God, I love you, right? Like, it's just good music, but they have to put you in a chapter somewhere.
Right, to organize things, like Pandora, for instance, like Ryan Bisio Radio.
Wait, you're on there? Because I didn't find you on Spotify. I've just been hearing you on YouTube.
No, I'm on Spotify, Apple Music, Pandora.
See, what I have found from doing this is, like, I looked on there and I didn't find you. Like, people were like, oh, I'm so excited for your podcast. Where are you at? I'm like, I don't know. I put the link on there every time I post it. It's like, I'm like, wait. Okay, I went to Spotify, the little circle with the stick, right? Magnifying glass. I typed in RYAN BISIO. Mm-hmm. And it should come up.
It's on there. It's on there. I know. It's tax season. I was doing my taxes. And I found that my music had been played this year worldwide in places that I had never... Like, I had a song on CBS this year and didn't even know until it was tax time.
They tell you?
Yeah. Like, my publishing company... my publishing company is ASCAP. There's there's BMI, ASCAP, like those are the big ones. Okay. So at the end of the year, I just look at the royalties on ASCAP and it shows you not only all the streams, but where your music's been licensed out by like independent films, shows, and I don't really pay attention to it anymore.
Right.
But like
too many things to pay attention to. So then you find out, holy shit.
It was on CBS, this year. So.
Hey, bye.
Let's go.
Nice job, Bisio.
You know, so.
And I'll find you on Spotify.
It's on there, but to my point was they have to create the genres to make sense of it. Okay. Like
what would you say is the difference between folk and bluegrass?
Probably like song structure and maybe instrumentation. Like it's not uncommon to have a mandolin in folk. Mandolin's probably more prominent in bluegrass. I think it's the way that the instruments are approached and probably song structure, overall just feel of it. You know, like those early Bob Dylan records, like it's kind of, you know, that's probably more folk stuff. Whereas like, you know, Billy Strings is a bluegrass artist that I've become familiar with a little bit.
I've got a lot. I don't know him very well, but I have a lot of clients.
I would assume that's bluegrass. But right now it's like everything's such a mishmash, which is to me is exciting because that creates those type of collaborations create just new works that inspire people. Yeah. And the work I'm doing now is like probably be categorized as even like a little more experimental than music I've made in the past, which is like super exciting for me. Yeah. But as a songwriter, ultimately, you're just trying to create the most honest statement you can make, and you're using the tools that are available to you at that time to create the most honest statement you can make. Mm-hmm. And as a songwriter, you're ultimately rewarded the most when you really have something to say. Mm-hmm. Not to say that artists don't make songs just because they like making songs. Yeah. Some of my early work, I didn't really have much to say, but I just wanted to write songs. So
Luke is kind of this morning. I was laughing so hard. The Willie Nelson On the Road Again. Mm-hmm. Willie Nelson is one of my faves because I train horses and his voice is good. So I rode horses that were afraid they had been abused or whatever. So when you sing, and Mariah Carey is not coming out of this voice box, but that On the Road Again song, it only took him like 5 minutes to write. Yeah. Like it wasn't much to him. It was like a little ditty.
Totally.
But then he had to sing for the rest of his life. So Luke was listening to this, where I'm like, oh my God, because he's traveling every freaking weekend. Like he's always gone.
On the road again.
Baby, this is kind out of your song.
Totally.
But it is funny, right? Like that song was so big, but it was just a little ditty. And then other times you have these songs and it's like you're everything. It's like you are being the most vulnerable. Here is my dick and balls.
Totally.
For everybody to see.
I know. Talk about vulnerability.
Yeah,
But I think you make a really good distinction though. And I think there's like, not to say Willie was like flippant when he wrote it, but sometimes that's also the best approach. Like it's like
get out there and play. Just fucking relax.
Totally. Like Bob Dylan wrote All Along the Watchtower in 5 minutes. Leonard Cohen wrote Hallelujah. It took him 3.5 years.
Yes.
Like, and they both equally, like, to me, like, resonate the same way.
Yes.
Like, two totally different approaches, not wrong or right.
Yeah.
Both had something to say.
Yeah.
Willie on the road again, like, just something super direct.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, I just am sitting there smoking this pot like, oh, here's a little paragraph, and then all of a sudden I'm singing it till I'm 80.
I know. It's amazing.
I do that with paintings. Because people will be Tuesday, Gina Tuesday, hi Tuesday, I love you. She helped me figure out how to price my paintings. Because some paintings you make out with for like a 45-minute thing and it's amazing. And other ones take a month of you fighting with. And it's like, yeah. And they look just as amazing. My energy with them is different. Sometimes the ones I had a battle with until I like them, it feels like a little passive-aggressive slap on the ass, like, get out of here! Right. I made you pretty, now go!
Art is the most fascinating thing to be involved with, and I really admire the medium that you work in, the mediums that you work in. I mean, I'm staring at your visual art right now in the background, and it's adding so much to this environment.
Yeah.
It's adding so much to the way sitting in here talking to you makes me feel.
Oh, thank you.
And it's amazing how the process for each individual piece is so different. I think ultimately we're all trying to create work that is true to ourselves and comes from a place that can resonate and make people feel an emotional response to it.
Yeah.
And
even if it's like a QuickBooks parrot, you know what I mean? Like somebody, like one of my closest, MJ, who helped me do all of this, like her brain is so opposite of mine. And so it's fun now that I'm in love with her and watching how she does things. It's like, wow, like you bring so much to the table that it doesn't even make sense to me. Right? Like she's not creating art, but she's creating sanity and spreadsheets and like knowledge, or like she'll write the show notes.
Right.
And it's like the correct, it's like everybody is offering something.
Totally.
And like with art, or I figure with you, with your music, it's like that vulnerability of like, because a lot of times people like what I don't like more than the things that I do like.
Totally. And I'm like that with other artists.
People buy my least favorite painting all the time.
Same.
Most of the time, my favorite hair, somebody wants me to shift it.
Same here.
And I'm always like, is something wrong with me? Like, why do you want me to fix that when I think it's perfect? And, like, what's wrong with my taste?
Oh, it's amazing how you can get attached to pieces you're working on in a certain way that, like, sometimes doesn't give them enough airspace to grow. Sometimes, like, other ones...
Yeah, do you put a song away sometimes?
Oh, yeah.
Where you're in time, I'm not even going to try and fiddle with you and then come back.
100%. Got to do it.
What is your writing process?
Oh, thank you for asking. It's different every time. Okay. More times than not, it's driven by sonics. So it's driven by...
What's a sonic?
Like, it's driven by the way that I pick up an instrument and it makes me feel. It's rare that my songs start from the written word. So typically they're started through some sort of performance on an instrument.
You emoting through sound.
Yeah, it's like, okay, like I feel this way. What does that sound like?
Yeah.
Right? So then it's like, okay, that's accurate. That's how I'm feeling. Now, how can I write something compelling to match what this sounds like? So there's certain songs that have taken me years to write because I wasn't ready to actually match the text with the feeling of this audio. And then it's like, oh, there it is. Like, I want the lyrics to say what the music would say if it was like a subtitle, or something like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So sometimes my songs take longer.
Wait, you mean as in like when you hear music from other languages and you know exactly what you're supposed to feel, but you don't know the words?
Yeah.
Is that what you mean by it?
Yeah, like I want like...
I mean, I don't even think in English I ever know words.
Sometimes it's better to not know. Like, you know how many times we've said the wrong
really
lyrics?
Screwed me up so often. I would be like, no, that is not what this song is about. Get off, turn it off. You know what I mean?
And that's why
or the lyrics, like I remember Spearhead. It's food for the masses, and I thought it was Cool Boy Glasses. And
100%.
Oh God. It was one of my favorite songs, and every time I put on glasses, I would sing it, and I'd turn the heater on in the car, so the hair would go like this, and put them on to cool my glasses, and food for the masses. I was so pissed. I was like, I never want to know the real things.
No, and I
feel, want my own story.
I feel the same way about artists who like. I like talking to other artists about process. Yeah. I'm really interested in process.
I love how you your process sounds amazing.
But I also don't necessarily want another artist to tell me what the song's about, because a lot of times my interpretation of the work and the way that I can apply it to my own life is like, I'd rather just be left with that than like the literal meaning. Yes. It's like, no, that song's about when I got Taco Bell after the show in Phoenix.
Right,
it's like,
and it really helped you heal your
it's like, what I thought it was about, it to me is much more interesting than that.
Yes.
You know, and it's helped me. So I believe in the autonomy of art in that way.
I like that.
You know,
even like in art classes, that would drive me crazy. I would be like, just shut up. It really is just a red dot. I don't want to hear all your vaginal bop, 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 bop to sound like an artist. Just, I like it or I don't.
Mm-hmm. It makes me feel something or it doesn't.
Yeah, like I don't want to hear your 2-page thing about what this is. Like, and I get it. I get why people want to talk about the meanings and all of that. But for me, as a listener or as a purveyor, a lot of times I'm like, I just want it to be what it is for me.
Yeah, and I find the way that I emotionally react to music too. Even like I'll hear songs on like commercials, right? That like they'll play the same commercial over and over, and like maybe it gets annoying, but it's like, man, that fucking song, man, it's getting on my nerves.
Yeah.
The truth is, if I'm having an emotional response to that piece of music, the artist won. Because even though I'm feeling angry,
something.
I feel something. If I saw the commercial 20 times and didn't even notice that there was a song going on, then that's tougher.
That musician might not have been
totally. But it's about the emotional.
I like what you're saying.
It's about the emotional response. It's like think about this. Who knows more about music? A music theorist and composer who can create magical musical scores and knows all the mathematics about it, or someone who hears a song and cries?
Right.
Who can claim they actually know more about music?
Right. Different spectrums.
It's
a whole different.
But it's like if you're
one is air, one is earth, kind of a thing. Like it's
totally. It's like if you get that emotional response, like who cares what theory you know? Because ultimately, we're all trying to get people to emotionally respond to our work.
Right.
You know, whether you you know what I'm saying. So like music is so,
because even like with being on social media and such, people are saying like the comments, that the responses, it really does not matter. If anybody is responding, that is what matters.
Yeah.
And that took me a bit, and then I was like, oh, I you're like sinking it in deeper. You know what I mean? Like now I can feel that. Like, why do we need it all to be light and fluffy and kind when I speak to my kids all the time, like day and night, hot and cold, up and down, black and white? Like, you got to have it all. So I like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you can at least... I got a bad comment on... I've only had one... No, I had 2 comments total from all of this. And it was on Matt Tomlin's.
Okay.
And the first one... Funny thing, the only 2 comments I've had are on the same one. But the first one was nice. And the second one, I wake up at 5 to do my spiritual stuff and work out or whatever. And I was like, before I started, which I'm not supposed to because otherwise you could get sucked in. But I was like, I just kind of love it. And this guy, I think it's a guy because it was like Big Puff Daddy, or I don't remember. something made me think it was a dude. And it was like at 2 a.m. about how annoying I am and that I should just shut up. And I looked at it, I was like, I know, buddy. I agree. Like, I'm bugging myself, kid. You know, and I deleted it. And I didn't feel bad about deleting it. It didn't feel like I was like trying to run away from it. I agreed with him, but I was also like, buddy, what are you doing at 2 a.m. talking shit to me? Like, I know that I'm learning how to not be so excited by people. Like, I'm giving you space. I'm learning. But then I told a friend that, and they're like, but Annie, that's still exciting. Like, first of all, they watched it. Second of all, they felt something enough to sex you. So
yeah,
you're helping me shed that, because I did do very well with it, but it is hard to have anybody.
I was influenced, and I think the way you're applying that idea to that particular incident is really good. I think it's really good. I totally agree with your friend. I had there's a friend of mine, his name is Ryan Masters. He's an incredible writer, poet in residence, brilliant songwriter, incredible author, has written some serious books that just have so much just cut to the way his tone. He's one of my favorite writers, dear friend. And he was writing for the Atlanta Journal back in the day. This is 2010. I released a single called The Pawnbroker that was accompanied with this really elaborate music video that a crew from Hollywood came up to Monterey to shoot. So it's a huge production. I'm super excited to play him the song. And he writes me back and just eviscerates it and just rips it apart, says, this sounds like this, and I don't know why you did this, and just completely... I was shocked.
Not what you were looking for.
I was shocked by his
come on, Masters.
But for whatever reason at that time, like I still had enough like I don't know, not security but foresight. And I remember saying like, "Why are you getting so emotional though, bro?" Like, it did something to you, didn't it? Because he's a songwriter himself.
Oh, that's so crazy that I was hearing it from But and what did he say?
I think he acknowledged my perspective was like, well, like, I'm sorry that you don't like the song, but, you know, the emotional response that you had to the song proves that this may be effective to get others to have a different type of emotional response, but it's touching emotions.
Or could it be that you were doing something that intimidated him, so it triggered him to judge you enough? You know, I mean, there are so oftentimes this gaslighting thing that I've learned, like, sometimes when people are mean to you, they really actually think the opposite. And they are yelling at you because they're actually yelling at themselves.
Well, I took that lesson to just know that I would rather have somebody write me and be like, that is just terrible music, as opposed to what I said earlier about like, I heard the song, like, I got no opinion. You know, kind of a thing. It's like, well, then that hurts. That means I got to go back to work, and I got to
ruffle some sort of feather.
Yeah, I got to get deeper. I need to create with more cut.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah. And sometimes, and maybe it's just more for my internal, but sometimes I think like you can also just simmer. I think there is something in me that I so used to like shocking people or surprising people or exciting people that just me being casual, you know, just not being something, but just being me can be a little bit, I guess if you're putting something out there, it needs to have a little cut to it, a little flair. But that is a homework I'm doing. It's like, Annie, you don't have to go to the party and make everybody feel good. If you're not feeling good, you can go to the party, you can just be quiet. You don't have to fluff her. You don't have to tell a funny story. Do you feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can simmer down now.
Yeah, I know. That's like in separating like the artist from the art. You know.
Yeah.
Like I know my own players have told me I could take a deep breath from time to time too.
Yeah.
You know.
Let's hold hands, Bisio.
For sure.
I think we could probably do a podcast every day. We could go for a while, and I don't even feel like we have started. Have we been I know. It's been, what, I feel like we're going to do this again. I feel like right now I would like, well, remember, we were going to do the golden nugget of wisdom at the beginning, and now we're a minute and a half. Wow. Do you want to give that? Or I do think we've done some good nuggets of wisdom. Do you want to just tell me like your summation of what?
I don't like golden nugget, like not advice necessarily, or is it like a
kind of just anything that keeps your boat floating?
I feel
like every couple of years I have like a mantra or a saying or a belief or a thought or a sentence that's like,
my life feels the most harmonious and is the most exciting when I surround myself with people who love and are passionate about what they do.
Fuck yeah.
And like
you gotta Marie Kondo the rest. Well, maybe not totally cut them out. But yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think like and it doesn't even matter what it is.
Yeah.
Like when you love something and you just have passion and you just go after it.
Yeah.
Like, I bless your heart.
As in, you don't even care if you care about their passion.
No,
I
want
to be around you because you have passion.
Yes, I want to be around people who are just going after the things that they love to do the most. In my life, I have been so uncompromising in pursuit of my own self-interest and the things that make me feel the most alive. Mm-hmm. Those things happen to be music and basketball.
Yeah.
And creativity.
Really, that is your choices.
But but you have such passion for your work, your role in parenting your beautiful kids.
Yeah.
Your contribution to our community. Thanks. It's just, when I'm around people that are just fucking crazy about the shit they do.
Yeah.
I just that's when I'm at my happiest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. I feel like I had so many holes inside of me when I was younger, just of not feeling worthy or confident. And so having lots of friends placated that for a while. Mm-hmm. And I think also I do have a lot of love for a lot of different types. But I think that was a big part of my 20s also, was just kind of collecting people that liked me instead of people that inspired me or that I really think, I'm so excited to give that to my kids. Like, pay attention, baby. You don't need a lot of people calling you. You don't need a lot of sleepovers, like my daughter is very like me, and she's got lots of sleepovers and excitement. And I'm so excited as she gets older to be like, yes, now is that behooving to you? Or are you filling a spot? Because relationships take time.
Yeah.
And to give the goods to the people that are passionate and are inspiring to you and others around you is so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. And I don't know, like in my basketball work, like I'm attracted to and seek people who just are head over heels in love with the game.
Yeah.
And just want to service the game and love it to death and honor it and be around others who have similar approaches.
Yeah.
Dang
it, that's one of the things, because this little hottie is making a book about basketball and music and the amazing dance that is. That's what we'll do our next one. When is this shit coming out? How is that?
I put it down and haven't worked on it since the season started. Okay. So once I create my roster here in a couple weeks, I'm going to resume the finishing touches on the book. And right now, like, I have some pretty good leads on some publishers and an editor and a writing coach and really. And
if anyone listening can help.
Oh, if anybody can help.
We'll start the All About the Dream Foundation right now. If anyone knows anything about getting freaking books out, because my The one that I'm going to put out next week is Jen Madrone. She's a sound bowl healer around here. And she just published a book on Amazon. And she did amazing. But I'm pretty sure, Madrone, I forget. But I think she self-published it.
Okay.
But I can help you guys get hooked up because she is doing amazing with it.
Totally. And I would love to talk to someone who has experience self-publishing even, just to see what that process was like.
Okay, I will hook you.
And I would love to talk to you about that another time. Thank you for having me so much. I love
everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. So fun.
So good.
So fun.
Thanks, everybody.